The fading line of death. Just a few seconds ago, someone was talking to you. Then they suddenly collapse. Their heart stops. Their breathing ceases. A doctor arrives, looks at the clock, and quietly says, "Time of death, 9:47 p.m." And in that moment, you think only one thing: it's over. But for most of human history, that idea that it was simply over was little more than an assumption. Then, in 1934, a young scientist, armed with nothing more than a seesaw and a handful of syringes, performed an experiment that would challenge everything we thought we knew about death. From ancient Greece to the Middle Ages, civilizations shared the same belief. The heart stops, the breath ends, the person is dead. Aristotle described it as the extinguishing of life's fire. Simple, certain, beyond question. By the 19th century, medicine had made enormous progress, yet physicians faced an unsettling reality. Determining whether someone was truly dead was, more often than not, an educated guess. And sometimes, those guesses were catastrophically wrong. Scratch marks were found inside coffins. Society couldn't ignore the possibility. The answer was something called the safety coffin. In Germany alone, more than 30 different designs were patented. Strings were attached to the body inside the coffin, connected to a bell above the grave. If the buried person woke up, they could ring the bell. Imagine that. Humanity was so uncertain about death that it attached bells to coffins. The University of California, Berkeley. A child prodigy named Robert Cornish had graduated with honors at 18 and earned his doctorate by the age of 22. Cornish devoted himself to a single question: does life truly end the moment the heart stops? His theory was surprisingly simple. Death wasn't a single moment, it was a system that had stopped, and stopped systems could be restarted. After years of research, the young California biologist launched one of the most controversial experiments in medical history. It became known as Project Lazarus. Dead dogs were strapped onto a large seesaw. Adrenaline and heparin were injected into their veins. The platform rocked violently back and forth, forcing blood toward the brain. From today's perspective, it looks primitive, even brutal, but the underlying principle was remarkably familiar. Temporarily replace the heart. Keep blood flowing to the brain. Out of 5 dogs, 2 began breathing again, but both were blind. One of them, Lazarus IV, eventually learned to crawl and bark. It ate over a pound of meat every day, yet he could never stand on his own. Still, he was breathing. Newspapers across America ran the same astonishing headline: "Dead dogs brought back to life." But that wasn't what truly disturbed people. The real question was far more unsettling. If death could be reversed, then what exactly had humanity been calling death for the last 2,000 years? San Quentin State Prison. Thomas McMonigal had kidnapped and murdered a 14-year-old boy. He had confessed to another killing. Now he was waiting for execution. One day, he read about Cornish's experiments. He wrote the scientist a letter. His proposal was only 3 sentences long. "After my execution, hand my body over to Dr. Cornish." The logic was chilling. If Cornish succeeded in bringing him back, double jeopardy laws might prevent him from being tried for the same crimes again. He was going to die anyway. He had nothing to lose. Cornish accepted. He petitioned the state. The warden of San Quentin refused. Cornish appealed. The courts refused as well. The authorities wanted to avoid one terrifying question. If a murderer could be brought back to life, would he have to be set free? Rather than answer that question, the state chose to ensure he would never return.
On February 20th, 1948, Thomas McMonigal walked into the gas chamber. He never walked back out. The 1960s. CPR. Medicine finally accepted that cardiac arrest could, in some cases, be reversed. What had once been considered the precise moment of death now had a different name: cardiac arrest. It wasn't the end, it was the beginning of a race against time. When the heart stops, oxygen no longer reaches the brain. Without intervention, irreversible damage begins within minutes. With every passing minute, the chances of recovery grow smaller. And this is exactly why Cornish's dogs came back, but never truly came back the same. Their hearts were beating, their lungs were breathing, but their brains had gone too long without oxygen. Cornish's seesaw was crude, yet it was fighting the very same battle. By then, nobody called it raising the dead anymore. They called it resuscitation. The word had changed, the idea had not: bringing life back. Robert Cornish died quietly in 1963 of a heart attack. He never won a Nobel Prize. He never built a famous laboratory. His name rarely appears in medical textbooks. But he left behind one question, a question no government, no court, and no religion has ever been entirely comfortable answering. If death is a process that unfolds gradually, at what point do we stop being human? Death doesn't happen like flipping a switch. It's more like a city slowly losing power. Some neighborhoods go dark first, others hold on a little longer. Eventually, the entire city disappears into darkness. Maybe that's why when doctors record a time of death, they aren't writing down the exact second death occurred.
They're simply giving a name to the moment when return is no longer possible. Even while some lights are still on, some rooms may already be dark. At the beginning of this video, I asked you to imagine a doctor saying, "Time of death, 9:47 p.m." Now let's return to that moment. Maybe that timestamp doesn't mark the instant a person died. Maybe it only marks the moment we could no longer bring them back. Because those two moments may not be the same.